Recording. Okay, welcome everybody. So we're going to call to order. I'm going to have Dave Burton do roll call.
I will do roll call. And this is in no particular order. It's a worksheet that Lori provided to me. So Dave Burton here, Lori Dorrit,
Here.
Jeff Flynn.
Jeff, are you muted?
He looks like he's off the screen.
He's putting his hand up. Dave Giroux.
Here.
Nancy Kavanaugh.
Here.
Greg Montanari.
Here.
Chris Papalizio.
Here.
Julia Schiavi. Is that Julia? Is that how you pronounce it?
You can either do either way. Schiavi's the Italian way.
Schiavi.
I'm
Okay.
here.
And Brian Smith.
Yes, here.
And that's everybody present.
Keep going.
Oh, we have one more tax collector. Lynn Christie's here.
From the public. And then we don't have any other public, so you're good to go. No? Oh, take that back. Okay. Do you see her join? I'm trying to. So that was Patty Fazio, but I don't see her.
I don't have anybody else on my screen. Oh, 3 others.
There she is.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Wonder if I can X out of that. I think I can. Let me see. So did you get that, Dave? Patty Fazio?
I do, man. I have that as position number 1
Okay.
for the public attendees.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So we'll give the meeting guidelines quickly because we have public. I'd just like to run. If you would like to speak as public in the public comments section, please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Begin with your name and your address. Address all your comments to the chair. And be respectful and relevant, please. And know that the board will not engage in dialogue. However, we will consider what you say and discuss it at a later time. And that's it for the guidelines. Okay. Is there any public comment?
I do.
Go ahead, Lynn.
So Lynn Chrissy, 25 Forest Way, commenting as part of public comment. I did notice in reviewing the agenda that waste management is on the agenda. And I wanted to compliment our current waste management company. Not only do they go above and beyond and are just consistently good about what they do, but most recently we had one of those Monday holidays, and people weren't sure whether they should put their garbage out. And this particular, the management, AWC, they went into people's driveways. They went upstairs. I watched them go up driveways. They pulled down the garbage cans that they knew people generally put out. Then they walked them right back up the driveways. I just don't know where we are ever going to find anyone in this day and age who's going to give us that level of service. So just a shout out to them. I wanted to bring it to your attention, and thank you very much for finding people that committed to our community.
Thanks, Lynn. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. I just like to make sure someone's not muted because I can't see everybody. I see little circles. All right, I'm going to move into member correspondence. I did get a letter, and I have different people have asked me this question, and I think may have asked some other board members. Hi, Lori. I'm not sure if you can answer this, but having met you at the newcomers night, I figured I'd give it a shot. Thank you so much for including me. Since arriving to the community last April and falling completely in love with it, I began to gather information about converting to year-round. As this is currently my only home, After many long hours and research, just this past month, I received the permit to add a well. With the road/pipe improvements last winter and anticipating the remaining roads being done soon, can you fill me in on the plan for the community's option to connect to the pipes for year-round service? So I think, Craig, you fielded something with this too. So I think because people think that the main headers were relocated 6 feet down, that they can leave them on year-round. But all of the actual pipes or connections to people's homes are not. And there's no way they can isolate that, even if they did get somebody that put it in six feet in. And I don't think they'd leave the water charged for a couple of homes that decided to do it. So I don't ever foresee it in the near future at all. And I did let her know that. And I also let her know. So she was putting in a well, and I know some of you probably put in wells. I put in a well. And I also know that somebody that was eligible to get a new line run to their home, the water company wanted to charge them $8,000. So put in a well, pay $8,000, and then so anyway, so that was my information on that. So if anybody does ask, and people are, and it makes sense, but I don't see it coming anytime in the near future. And then after the letter went out about the dam, I thought I would receive more questions and so forth. However, I received a very nice letter from a member that asked about the engineering report referenced in the letter. Was it available for review? And he said your letter was helpful. There's no mention of the estimated repair costs. And is there a timeline to secure an estimate? So I did reply back to him with the information. And I also sent him a copy of the report. And I'll talk about the report being online in my report. So really that was it. And I did receive one other email that was kind of mixed in with a different, I think it was something to Julia to update on the website. And I sent him the letter. It was one of the letters that came back undeliverable or something. And he responded that he was thankful that he got the letter, and he was thought it was very concise and well done. So I'm pleasantly surprised that that is what I received. So that's it for members' correspondence. The officers' report. So I just want to talk about a couple of things. First, I want to say thank you to all the board members and the volunteers for all of your efforts this weekend. Like we did so much. Everybody came together. Not me, because I was under the weather. But really, your time and efforts are truly appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All of you. And I know, it was on Facebook, and everybody gave thank yous, although Dave Giroux did not get them. So I'm going to give him kudos now too for taking apart the racks at Second Beach. He did that in the last couple of days so that those trees can come down, besides the fact that the racks are in disrepair, but we'll talk about that in properties. But I just want to say thank you. Thanks. Really, I mean, coming together like that is great. So under new business, we had planned to discuss group dynamics on the agenda. And given the number of more pressing items tonight, I'd like to set that discussion aside for another meeting. So I make a motion to set aside the group dynamics item under new business. All in favor? Thank you. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you. So the dam documents, except for the permit, I forgot to put that one on, are now available on the website under community information. I've been working with Melanie to get those uploaded, and we'll continue to improve the section. I just recently learned, I asked her, I said, Mel, do they have to be PDF? Do they have to be Word? So if I upload them in PDF, you click on it, you see the document. If I upload them in Word, it asks you if you want to view or download, which you can view it. You just push view and you see it. But I think I'll try to change them into PDF so that they're there. I am very, very I'm dangerous. That's how much I learned, but we needed to get that on there. And so she worked with me, and there were 4 programs that I had to figure out and learn. So I'm very green, and I will pass that along, but not until anyways, this was important to get on there. I also put LQuick on there, and under LQuick right now is only our Lake Hayward Watershed Management Plan, which I'm not even sure if everybody knows that we have that, but Corinne worked really hard to get that. So that is on there. And then Melanie will put, she has all of the archived stuff, and so she'll move all that over. And then I also put a tab for financials, and I'll work with Lisa. And then at some point, Craig, I sat with Melanie for 8 hours. So at some point when you have some time, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay. I'll reach out to her. Just make sure I have her contact.
Yeah. Well, the problem is getting to her. I mean, yeah, she literally just came back from Japan for three weeks. She's everywhere. So I said to her, I said, you gotta come see me. So anyway, so we have the ability now to do a few things. And I can, maybe send her a text and say, how do I do this or how do I do that? But very green, but improvement. Okay, this is another big one. I'm also working on an initiative to scan and microfilm all of our land surveys. So Lynn Chrissy has been going through all of our old files and everything. And I have also been, I have books that Lynn hasn't seen yet. And in those books and files and properties books, and there's surveys everywhere. So I have corralled them all. I think I have them all. And so I reached out to the town clerk and asked if they actually do it there, scan them and then microfilm them, digitize them. Or if they have an outside company, they use an outside company. I'm in touch with him. And he's going to give me a price on doing that. And then we will have them on the drive. And I will also file all of them with the town once it's done. So that was important to tell you tonight for different reasons. And I think that's it for my report. So
Hey, Lori, I'm going to jump out of the meeting and jump back in. I'm having an issue with my computer. So just let me back in when it comes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so financial reports. Lynn, tax collector.
Yeah, I went ahead and I have forwarded all of you the most current update on what is owed or what is outstanding. There are 9 line items. It comes to, and this includes interest to date, $3,546.76 outstanding. Everything else is collected. Of the 9 line items, only 4 of these properties or outstanding taxes are individuals or representatives that I have not heard from yet. Just so that you're aware, if you hear about it, the 28th of November, which I think is a Monday, I'll be going down to town hall and filing liens on all of our outstanding things. I have a process and a calendar that I follow. And so end of November, the liens go on, and there's statutory notice. It goes out. Everyone gets notice that this is happening. And then if I don't hear from people, or, things don't happen, they head over to collection to add them. And that happens right after Christmas in January. That syncs up with the town of East Haddam. And the reason that I'm pretty strict about that is because if we sync up with East Haddam, we follow Denise's protocol, we share the attorney, sort of that attorney cost and setup. But more importantly, so do our taxpayers. We don't end up paying any of the fees. All fees and collection costs go to the taxpayer. If we do this separate from the town, they're going to get hit twice. I'd rather that they just get hit the once. So that you know.
That's thoughtful.
Yeah. The other thing I did share with you, and I know that bylaws will come up later, and there's, I don't know if we're going to do bylaws this year, but there's a section in the bylaws that has to do with taxation. And as your tax collector, I'm making a recommendation for two, these would be additions, new items to taxation bylaws. The first one is a waiver. And what this says is that when people have paid their taxes or paid taxes and interest, if the outstanding amount, and this happens sometimes because, people will pay at the end of a month and it just clips into the next month and interest hits it. If that amount is $5 or less, that we have the ability to waive it. Frankly, it's going to cost me more than $5 to go after it. A lot of other towns have done this. I'm recommending that we consider it. So this would be something for you to think about if you think that this is something that should move forward to bylaws for consideration. The second, there is no ability within Connecticut statute for us to do installments. So the reason that I brought up the timing before is because, liens go in the end of November, and then right after Christmas, it's heading for collection. The minute that happens, the first thing our attorney does is he charges it anywhere from $800 to $1,000. Automatically goes on to their bill. It's a lot. If someone contacts me, and this has happened, it would be good to be able to offer installments. But what I've done is I have, sketched out something, outlined something that says that, first of all, it would not be my decision. They would need to follow a guideline. A property owner would need to notify in writing, and my suggestion is it go to the board. And this would be by November 15th. So ahead of that lien date, right? To say, I'm looking for installments and spell out why. And that it would then be up to the board to make a decision. Is this, something that it's not just, I was late, or gee, I like installments, but, there's a reason that this person, right. You'll make the decision. You would authorize me then to allow them installments. And I'm not saying that we would do installment fees or anything like that. The interest is going to continue to accrue. I'm going to continue to put a lien on them because, God forbid, it goes south. You want to make sure that your interest is covered. But I would allow them, and I'm not putting any particular amount on it, as long as they're paying me something a month. And they're, the installment plus any interest and any fees is paid up by June 1st. So it all has to be in the current tax year. We can't go over. That we would be allowed to do installments. It's more work for me. But on the other hand, we have people here that are older. There are financial things that happen. It would be nice to at least have the option to offer. So, as I said, I've given you some suggested wording, kind of thought it through. Believe me, I have no problem with people editing or adding. or if you have questions about why I might have worded something or put timelines in, always happy to answer. But these would be my suggestions for potential changes to the bylaws. And this would be for our next tax year, not this tax year. Any questions or anything I can tell you about the taxes or where we stand or collections?
No, but I do want to say, for me, thank you. I see you, Brian. I can actually see that now. I never used to be able to see that. Oh, you know why? Because it's usually behind me, far away. We do have a couple of Jeopardy bills this year, right?
Well, Jeopardy doesn't happen. We have no Jeopardy bills in the current tax year. Do we have people that we could end up Jeopardy billing in the coming year? So Jeopardy bill is prepaid tax. You may have seen prepaid tax on that's what this is about. Because what the law says is if you didn't pay this year and there's a high likelihood that you're going to be late next year, and our attorney helps us with this, we can hit you for next year's tax as well. So, and we've done this with individuals who are people that kind of don't pay their tax year on year on year. So they don't pay it. Yeah, there are usual suspects, and we have usual suspects. So we would charge them for it next year. Plus, we're going to charge them for the following year so that we get 2 years worth of taxes so that we don't have to chase them 2 years in a row. But then that's usually in conjunction with the attorney. So they get hit with $1,000 in addition. It's a lot.
So Lynn, I have a question for you. So the liens go out November 28th.
Correct.
Is that when it would be decided that these people are chronic, and we would, when do we decide that they get Jeopardy billed? Like, when does that happen?
Jeopardy bill happens if we're sending them to collection.
Right?
And this is someone, Jeopardy bill is usually if you have been late for at least once in the past 5 years, we're going to look to Jeopardy bill you. And Jeopardy bill is, again, I come to you and say, I'm looking to Jeopardy bill these individuals. This is how many years they were late. Like they were late last year and the year before, and then 2 years ago.
So I guess let me ask it differently.
Mhm.
At what point do you come to me? I mean, I know we've done this before, but
Just before I send them to collections when they're on their way to Adam.
okay. Okay. So, but they're already in collections when you're filing the liens, right? Or no?
No,
They're not in collections now. They're just late.
Adam will put them in collections.
Adam is collections.
Okay. Because
Yeah, the lien, I don't send the liens to credit agencies. People have asked. I don't. If someone ends up with a court hearing where they're looking to sell their property, that lien will become apparent because someone's going to do a record search.
right.
But unlike banks, I don't alert credit agencies when I place a lien on their property.
Okay. Brian, I'm sorry, you have a question.
Yeah, the installment bylaw change. Have you had people actually come to you, approach you and ask for
Yes.
that? Oh, okay. Many? Like it to be
We don't
worthy?
have that many people who end up on the list, right? So usually someone who's going to come to me with an installment request has a pretty good story a pretty
Okay.
good story, like something has happened in their lives.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else for Lynn? All right, Lynn, thank you very, very much. That was very thoughtful to offer the installments, and it will be a lot more work on your part to keep track of monthly payments. So thank you for offering that to the community. Yeah,
All right.
and we are going to talk about whether we're going to have a bylaw committee this year.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Lynn.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Lynn. Okay. So Lisa is not here tonight, but I'll give you her report. The reports are on the drive. Um, that's her report. So if you have any questions, you can email her. And she just put them on tonight. So if you happen to look, and they weren't there, they are there now. Okay. So asset management, Dave, I know we were going to talk about this, but we didn't have the meeting last month. And I mentioned that Chris, I sent the letter to Chris, asking him if he was interested in bidding.
So just so we're clear, we're talking about AWC and the waste management part of things.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So in the, was it September? I believe it was the September board meeting. We decided to reach out to AWC, to Chris, and ask him what his intentions were, and kind of put forth, a request for him to send us a proposal. And we were looking for March 1st. And, he responded and he said, we have appreciated the business with Pola for over 30 years. Keeping the cost down for our customers is definitely one of our priorities. But with inflation and the cost of insurance rising and maintaining the profitability for the business, it's getting more difficult each year. The contract is set to expire at the end of June 2026, and we will have a better idea what the new rate will be around the end of March 2026. Thank you. So, I'll let Dave go with that now.
Yeah, I think that we should go back and see if he could provide the numbers by the 1st of March, because we then would be able to evaluate whether or not we want to go with a bid exemption or whether or not we want to go out with a proposed bid. I mean, ideally, we could stay with AWC because of the parameters we have, such as the need for manual trash pickup in the narrow streets, et cetera. But we won't know that until we know what his numbers look like. And if we had March 1st rather than March 31st, or is it March 30th? I don't remember. Then we would have time to prepare a bid and execute a bid before the contract expired, if that was the need.
So I think, Dave, the issue with that was having, contractors or vendors that are, that fit into our community, in many different ways, location, the size of their trucks, all that type of thing. So do we know if we have these contractors available to even bid if we wanted to?
No, we haven't done the due diligence regarding potential suppliers at this point, but we could.
We did preliminarily kind of.
Yeah, the last
Well,
time around, we did look at some. Mhm.
So I think, that
But there
was
was nobody that said, oh boy, here's a great opportunity.
right. And there were some that were, located over the bridge that could accommodate us, but wouldn't because they were too far.
Mhm.
So I can't recall. I don't know if there were any prospects that were even viable.
I don't believe there were.
Maybe one.
Was there one?
I think there was maybe one, is what I recall, besides Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it would be worth revisiting if that's what we want to do.
Well,
For a number of reasons, to my mind, even if we went out and just solicited the marketplace, AWC is going to hear about it, and he'll know that we're considering our options. Do I think that's going to impact his pricing model? No. It is whatever it is.
Well, if I remember right, didn't we think that did impact his pricing model, or weren't we concerned with that before?
We were concerned. We were concerned that he was significantly low. Okay, but for some reason he gained insight into the fact that he was significantly low and he should increase his prices dramatically. And we do not know why that occurred.
Okay.
But he went up, over the course of 2 years, 50%.
No, I remember. Yeah.
So I guess the question is, do we want to look into, see if there's even any other viable options? And that will obviously ultimately steer us in one way or the other.
I don't think much has changed in 2 years, because I know I had called one or two people. I know I had called Olson Sanitation, a friend of mine over in Deep River, and he won't service our area. And then there was another person I had contact, and then someone else made a couple of contacts. So this wasn't 20 years ago. It was very recent, like a couple of years ago, where we did explore it. So I don't know, how much has changed in 2 years.
I do have to agree with Lynn. I was one of those people, and he actually, I keep mine in a cabinet. He actually opened my cabinet, pulled the pails out, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's not legit.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mhm.
And so he and then he put them back in. So there's no argument that his service is fabulous, but I mean, he just went up 50% to maintain, his business. Now, to say that he's still going to go up, or he may, I think Dave's right. We need to see where that goes. And
So
we need to see if we are at his mercy.
can we ask offline? I mean, I know somebody at Bazzuto's. Actually, I know Bazzuto. And Jeff knows somebody he's asked. So can we just not say it's Pula, and can we just go do a little research here? Because I think that, again, I'm trying to be, from a fiduciary standpoint to the membership, we owe it to the membership to make sure that we're getting a good price. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And everybody loves Chris. And where do we draw the line? So can we just do a little sleuthing under the table here and say, hey, what will it cost?
So how do you do that? So we drop a scope of work, all right? We're 450 houses, 125 are year round, 325 are seasonal.
Right, you already did that. It's great.
I know,
it's good.
but who's not going to know what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Well, anybody that would be
I have
serviced
a
in our
vowel at the end of my
area.
name.
You
I
know,
don't know.
and you'd have to talk about the geographic location. I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate. I'm just
No, it's a valid point. I'm just okay. It's a valid point.
Is the concern these companies all talk to each other? If you
They
talk to
definitely all talk to each other, Brian. It's
Oh,
not
they
a
do.
concern.
Okay.
They're all run by
I'm
the
just trying to catch
same
up.
organization.
You guys have done this. All right.
If you catch my drift.
Is he buying new trucks? I mean, could we at least get a benefit out of it? Is there something why he's increased it?
Brian, I think he just increased it to kind of get back up to market rates. I think
Okay.
that he's been loyal
Fair
to
enough.
our community for so long, and he just knew that it was just easy business because he's right down the road.
I mean,
And
if
loved
you
in the
do,
community, and I think he just gave us good rates
sorry,
until he realized he needed to increase.
Is he a member? Is he part of the lake?
No.
Okay.
if you do the math on what he's currently charging us with seasonal and year round, and just figure it out on average months, he's still below market rates.
Yeah, you did that math at a meeting. Yeah.
Brian, his father used to service this area, so it's generational. I mean, they've been here for,
Oh yeah. No, I have no complaints. It's just
yeah. No, I just informational,
yeah. I know it's the biggest part of our budget. It is. But it seems
And-
like it goes full circle every time. It is what it is.
The other thing I remember in the past was he's the reason that we got the Mondays. Before it was Fridays, when his father wouldn't switch to Mondays. And we had Fridays as our regular day when we were with his dad.
So the weekenders would have trash
Right.
all through the week.
That's another reason. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nobody's complaining about him, so kind of is what it is.
So where do we stand with this? What do we want to pursue looking and see if there is anybody that,
I don't think we need to do it for this year, Lori, myself. My vote would be not for this year. Like Jeff said, we've done it recently and we're still under market value. So we are doing our due diligence, making sure. I mean, if we were over market value, then maybe we go out and we get some more quotes, but we've done it recently and we're under market value per household. I say, we let it ride for this year.
well, it'll be a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Dave, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good value as is. I think we have to justify it to the community. I think that last time when we went through the increases, there was some significant discussion around that. And, you know, they do have to approve it. So we have a contract that expires in June. We wouldn't have a venue to get it before the community until August. I see a lot of potential risks.
Craig?
I was going to say some of the pushback had to do with the giving up the 2-day
Pickup.
2-day pickup. I think that was a lot of the pushback. There was some concern that trash would be around for longer periods of time and draw rodents or whatever, but that turned out not to be an issue.
Wildwood gets bears. Down by Nancy.
That's right.
Okay.
That was bird feeders.
Bears are big rodents.
They're,
Right,
yes,
apparently.
they're quite large. Yes. Is there any other discussion on this? Do we want to vote to stay with Chris, or do we want to wait till we get his contract and then vote?
I make a motion to stay with Chris for the next 2 years. He's under market value. We could explain that to our membership. And he's been great service with us.
I second that.
Second.
Okay, so just for discussion purposes, we're voting on keeping him before we're getting his contract, and we have no idea what it's going to be. I'm just saying.
Then amend the motion to say if it's, well, I don't know. We can't vote on it. We can't
Yeah,
vote on it.
well, then we have to wait
We
until
have to wait for the
30.
contract.
We have to
Which
wait
is
until
why
March
To Dave's point,
31st.
if we wait for
There
the
we go.
contract, it might be too late to go out to market. So here it is, like tail wagging the dog.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, voting on something that's the unknown is kind of, I find it,
Well, I guess the other alternative,
with that,
Lori,
Laura.
is to have Dave reach out to Chris and see if we could get his information by March 1st. And then we could have, we'll have to have another special meeting right after that. We can't wait to the third week of the month to have that discussion. We'll have to get together if his price is above market value. We'll have to get together right away, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, I think I agree with what you're suggesting, Chris. I think there's more to it than that, though. I think the due diligence as to other potential suppliers needs to be done way before then, because now you're working in a very tight timeline.
Yeah, you know better than I do, Dave. I was thinking if we had a month, we could do it, but that's probably not realistic.
Well, you gotta, identify the suppliers, send out a scope of work, get their responses, evaluate their responses. I don't
Who
know.
has the best relationship with Chris? Who could just have a conversation with him?
We try,
Like,
I mean, Lori
just-
sent, we drafted a letter, we sent the letter.
Well, I mean, pick up the phone and go, "Hey, Chris, I'm going to talk to you. What's going on? How you doing? Like, how's your family? By the way." That's how deals are done, not sending letters.
Well, no, I get it.
Can anybody? I mean,
I don't know. I have a hard time voting on an unknown.
well, I think your point is valid, Lori. I don't think we should vote on an unknown. I think if I knew Chris, I would call him. Who knows Chris? Who has the best relationship with Chris?
I don't know him at all.
And why can't, right, so do any of us have a relationship at all with him other than the fact that we're on the board? Julia, you do? Well, you've been here
Yeah,
a
I
long
mean,
time, so you know him, right?
I do have I mean, I call him all the time for stuff that we're doing, you know, hey, can you pick up this, or do you want to do that? Or, and I know him, but I think he often confuses me and thinks I'm actually Lori because he calls me Lori.
I can see that.
But you know, I see him when he picks up the garbage and everything. So, but I have never engaged in a business conversation with him.
Okay, so back before our board and previous boards, it was Phil who would make the conversation happen with Chris. Am I right in that?
Yes.
Okay. And right now we don't have a Phil who can have a side conversation with a vendor. Am I
Well,
also correct in that?
The last side conversation went sideways because we wound up paying 50% more. So I'm not sure how well that worked, Greg.
Well, no, I would. Okay, fine.
I
There could be differences. Well, whatever. The point is, none of us have a relationship with the vendor, who is our largest line item on our budget.
Yeah.
And we can't go up to him and say, "Hey, man, how you doing? Can we talk and get information?" The only way we can go after it is to submit a request for proposal.
Well, Craig, I do have that relationship. I can do that, but is that what we want to do?
I don't know. I'm just, first I was asking, does anybody know and is comfortable enough having the conversation? Then we as a board can determine, you know, whether that's a good plan. And Dave Burton, with your experience in dealing with these people, I'd love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, I don't think, well, I mean, as far as the vote goes, it is an unknown. I think you have to wait, right? In fact, there's no proposal on the table to vote on, other than the discussion on the refuse pickup, but we actually didn't set aside that we were going to vote on a contract tonight. So parliamentary procedure, I don't think we can do that because it wasn't part of the agenda to start with. And that's only to encourage public commentary in case somebody wanted to come on and say something about that. So
totally agree with that. But
right.
from a side conversation standpoint, in your dealings with vendors and in your capacity, I mean, is that a good approach for us to have somebody just have an off the record conversation and say, "Hey, we're trying to get some intel. We want to, you know, not using these words, but we want to keep you. We just need to know it. We need a heads up," you know?
Right. I mean, yes. So if we're going to discuss contracts from multiple vendors, and before we make a choice, if there are multiple vendors, that has to actually be part of executive session, right? So we can do a side-by-side comparison, because what we're actually putting out there now is probably too much information as far as somebody that wants to get an inside track on this, and it's, you know, it might give them leverage on the contract. So based and again, you know, the conversation is, okay, the size of the truck, he's been good to the association, and we're certainly not trying to alienate, right? But if we're going to represent the membership, then we need to have a contractual conversation as an executive. As far as reaching out and getting the information, absolutely. I reach out to vendors all the time, but that doesn't forego the formal process, right? So even though I may know ahead of time the ballpark pricing, if it is exceeds the purchasing policy, or if it would violate the purchasing policy, then we have a normal process to go through. So,
and I'm not suggesting bypassing the normal.
No, I didn't say.
Process.
No, I'm not trying to say that. You just have to be very careful on your conversation, because you can't promise anything.
No, yep, yeah, I get
So
that.
it's just information or fact finding. Hey, if you were to continue for the next, 2 years, can you give me an idea what the price would look like? You have that ahead of time. However, I would say it still needs to be in writing in order for us to discuss it as a board.
Yep,
Agreed.
I get you. All right.
Chris,
That's great
you had your
feedback.
hand up? Chris, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I had my hand up. I think that all sounds good. But if Dave said that he's not going to give us this estimate until the end of March, it sounds like we need to, this isn't a sidebar conversation of what Dave Burton is saying is we need to have it in writing, and this isn't a swag. This is no kidding. We need to know what your price is going to be for the next 2 years. And we also don't know, let's say it goes up by 20%. We don't know if that's even reasonable or not, because now we have to go out and get 3 more quotes. So I don't know if we could do this without just going full bore and saying that we're gonna go and get additional quotes to see if Chris's quote's reasonable. We know it's gonna go up. We know it's not gonna stay the same. We know it's not gonna go down. We know it's gonna go up. We know Dave said it takes a lengthy amount of time to get other estimates, and we don't have much time. So if we're gonna go in this direction, I think, and I don't know if Chris is going to give us something in writing in 2025. He said, all right, we could reach out to him and he may say, I'll give you something in February. But if that's the case, we're going to have to start now with going out with other quotes at two or three other places to see if that's reasonable, if it's still market value.
And I think that's where Dave and I were going, Dave G, because Chris already responded and said he's not going to give us a proposal to the end of March. So if we do want to
Right.
look at others, we need to proceed now.
Yeah. So I guess if we did that, we would say we're not doing our due diligence, and we're going to have to do this every single time we sign a contract with Chris, that we're going to have to get quotes every single time. I don't know if we've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've, had good relationships with Chris, and his pricing has always been fair for 30 years, that we go out every 2 years and get 3 estimates. And I don't know if we've done that in the past, and if we have to do that now. Not sure. He's treated us well. Like Lynn said, they're excellent at what they do. I don't know if the board needs to do that every single time we get a new trash contract.
I don't think
know if that's fair for us.
I don't think anybody in the community would be happy to see Chris and AWC go.
Right.
But I think we're trying to do our diligence. So do we wait and see if he comes with this contract and it's, outlandish again, we accept it. And then from there we move forward, for the next contract.
I think that's where Dave Giroux, needs to let us know how long this is going to take, and if he needs some help with going out and getting some more estimates. If it's going to take 3 months, and we're not going to know Chris's estimate until sometime February, March, maybe the end of March.
End of March.
Maybe we can't get him to move off the end of March. We may have to move next month and start reaching out to companies and doing this.
And there's a way to do it professionally without ruffling feathers, because business is business. So that's why I was asking before if there's somebody who has a personal enough relationship where you can not break the parliamentary and the official, whatever the official words are, you not break the process, but just say, hey, we have to do the due diligence. Like we have to do this. But there's
Craig,
not one of us
he
that-
may not give you any insight, and
right.
and like Dave Burton said, we need it in writing. So now it's not a swag. Now we need to have what he's going to give us March 31st. Now we're asking for it. We need it now. I doubt he's going to give it to us now.
I do too. I mean, I did ask him I didn't read the whole letter to you, but it was a very well written letter. Excuse me, from Dave, who is this is his wheelhouse.
Right.
So
When's the contract up again?
June 26th.
June 2026.
Right.
Julia.
Has her hand up.
Dave G, don't we already have the RFP sort of in place from last time? When we scrambled?
We have a scope of work.
We have a scope of work, yeah, and we know who to go to. I mean, so we've kind of already done all that, right? So we have
Well,
it.
We do not have suppliers identified. We have potential suppliers.
Right.
We don't know if any of them can support our needs. We never
Right.
did go down that path. The last time around, we developed a scope of work. We identified potential suppliers, but then we decided to just renew the contract with AWC.
But we have that. We have the scope of work and we have people that we know we
I
can.
mean, if I was AWC, I would hope that the association would go down the same path they did last time.
Just a time check. It's 10 of 8 and we got a lot more to do. So I think we should make a decision here which way we want to go.
One last thing, Dave G, to your last comment. If I was AWC, I wouldn't want to lose us as a customer.
Right.
Yes, he's got a good gig here. He's got a
He
really,
has a good gig, and it's a decent chunk of money.
right.
So, what we're talking about is the change in, gas and diesel prices and where he's dropping his stuff, which is only a few, there's only a few transfer stations that these places go to. There's like one guy in Bridgeport who owns the lock on it, and
He drops his and he's had him.
in East Haddam, which goes to where, right? So there's like it all. I'll send you a link to a documentary. It's pretty interesting because
All right.
Yeah, I mean, there are other factors, insurance and things like that have also
Sure.
gone up. But I mean, I don't.
So the question on the table is, do we want to pursue other suppliers?
Can we just ask him for that month or two earlier? No, seriously. I know we all keep saying, everybody's saying the same things over and over again. Say, hey, Chris, we could avoid the stress of having to look for another supplier if you gave us another month.
I don't
know.
mind talking to people. If someone gives me his number, I'll call him.
I mean, I'm not usually here on Mondays anymore, but I'll try to be here on Monday if you want me to.
But even like Dave
That-
Burke said, if you have a swag conversation with him,
Yeah,
we need something in writing.
Right.
Well,
Dave G,
that's what I would ask him. I would say, well, can you better, like just what Nancy just said, can you better the 31st March date? When's the soonest you could give us that date?
Jeff
And
had
we need it in writing. If we can't.
yeah, because we'd prefer not to go out and hunt other people down if we don't have to, you know?
Dave G, do you want to reach out to Chris? And I mean, this is your wheelhouse.
Jeff Flynn had a question.
Well, my point is, Chris, waste guy, basically said that he doesn't know what his insurance costs are. So we don't even know the anniversary date of his insurance policy. I mean, how do we, there's a lot of, so his policy may come due March 1st or April 1st. So he'd get a heads up to know that cost. So we can ask all we want, but there's a lot of behind the scenes that are going on here that it's, I think an informal chat makes sense. I do. But we have to, the reality of it all is to ask them if in the informal chat, when does your insurance come up? I know you had mentioned that, when is it? We need to dig a little bit more.
Right. Hey, Chris, we want to keep you. We want to keep this going. When do you think you're going to know your costs? Because we're trying to get a heads up on this. We don't want to get blindsided for our membership. We're trying to do our due diligence.
Right.
You've been here for 50 years. We want to keep you. When are you going to know?
I think we laid all that out for him and we asked for immediate pricing and he said the end of March. Now we can go back and if you want me to, I'll go back and talk to the guy and say, hey, we appreciate the fact that you want the end of March, but we really need something by the 1st of March. And then
Well, yeah, but
March,
it's not we really need something. It's we really want to work with you.
We
And we're
said,
trying to-
we said that in the letter.
I know, but we said it in a letter. Nobody had a conversation with him, unless I'm mistaken. And in a conversation, you can say things differently,
Right.
and officially, and you can get a little bit more insight. In a letter, it's words on a page that then just go. That's why text and email is the worst form of communication ever in business, ever. Yep. That'll be on my gravestone. So, like, we got to pick up the phone. We got to get on the phone with him, and we got to go, hey, This is what we're dealing with. We want you. We love you. Everybody's raving about you. How quickly can you give us some details? You know, because he knows, because he's a business owner and he knows that there's competition out there.
So Dave, is that something you would want to do?
Yeah, I don't mind doing it. I mean, I just want the opinion of the board, and if that's what we want to do, fine. Give me the guy's name and number, and I'll give him a call. And I'll ask to sit down with him. I don't care.
Okay. Is everybody good with that? Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody shaking yes, Jeff, you're good with it? Your men's and men's over there.
Men's,
Was
but
that jazz hands?
I mean, I don't know how much interaction Dave G has had with this guy. Maybe we
None.
need somebody fresh.
It doesn't matter. I think this
You
is,
know,
this
and
is,
it
this,
I'm just saying is, do we need a fresh person to now come into the scene and just say, hey, listen, I know we've had a letter with you, but you know, man to man, over a cup of coffee, this is where our back's to the wall. We got to deal like the small business world. That's what I always say, and that's what I don't think we've done yet, and that'll bridge the gap. That's my 2 cents.
I think Dave can do that.
It's not can do.
If somebody else wants to do it, I'm fine with that as well.
It's not can do. It's somebody different.
Yes. Well, but he is different. He's
I
not,
mean,
he's
the letter
reached out.
the letter went out under Lori's name.
under my cover. It,
Oh,
I just wrote it. That's all.
Right.
Okay.
The different in Jeff's world is it's not somebody who used to do it. Right. It's somebody like none of us have a relationship with him. So there's nobody every one of us is different.
right.
Except
So
Lori.
I think this, right. So this being Dave's wheelhouse, him knowing how to talk to people, and I think, I'm sorry, I know I'm putting it on you, but hey,
This is it. I don't mind doing it, but if somebody else wants to, that's cool as well. I don't care.
We need to move on. Dave, do it.
All right,
That sounds
send me
good
the
to
guy-
me. Dave, do
Send
it.
me the phone number and his name, and I'll do
you
that.
got it. You got it. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. Moving on. So lake quality, we're just gonna give, I'm gonna be very brief here because we gotta move on. We have a couple other big things to talk about. But as you all know, we at the end of the season experienced a lot of algae. And that is due to nutrient loading. I've had several discussions, meetings with Wolf. He has data for the last 5, and this year might make 6. I'm not really sure on the nutrients and where they're coming from. And a lot of them are from the farms and the First Beach area. And unfortunately, the biobasin, if there's a large, I'm going to say a deluge, but if we get a heavy rain, nothing, you might get a little bit of seepage and it goes through the aquifer, but for the most part, it goes right out the discharge into the box, into the lake. So, so I looked at all his data points. And of course the lake flows that way. So that's why Third Beach catches it all the time. Second Beach caught it, Little Beach caught it. First Beach pretty much stays clear, even though that's where the nutrient loading is. So we do need to talk at some point about looking at the retention basin again and its design. And that I've been talking with Wolf, and we breached that. So over the last 5 or 6 years, we've been spending about $6,000 a year on the stream testing that is telling us all of this data, which actual catch basins it's coming from, and so forth. So I said to him, so Corinne did not put in for that in the budget this year for stream testing, the 6,000. And she felt as though, and I agree with her, there's already enough data to tell us what's going on. We need to do something about it before we stream test again to see if what we do is going to help. So I said to Wolf, I said, next year's budget, well, maybe we take that 6,000 and fix the bioretention basin and make that work how it's supposed to and try to trap some of those nutrients. The other thing is, and I think you probably, most of you know, I don't know who's East, well, I know you're not, Jeff, you're not East Haddam, but we just voted for a referendum for all of the roads to be taken care of in the town of East Haddam. It was a big bill, a huge number. And the lake here was rated like one of the worst roads. So the idea is if the retention basin gets fixed to where it actually functions properly, the catch basins that are coming down Hayfield and the ones that catch the runoff from the farms, we divert them when they tear up the roads. We ask Public Works to divert them to the biobasin. But we don't want to do that unless we know that the biobasin is actually working.
And is the biobasin big enough to handle that all?
It is, but the discharge is too low. So it needs
Right.
to raise so that it actually retains the water. And it's not doing that.
But that's a lot of runoff you're talking about. That's like probably 3x the runoff.
Well, there's two of the main catch basins that add to their high nutrients. And one of them is two of them are the top of Hayfield. Julia.
Lori, can we go back on the design or the installation of that on the biobasin, that it failed and it's not to the way it's not, was it designed inaccurately or installed inaccurately?
So I can't answer that, and I've tried to. So when that was put in and handled and managed and all the way through by Ed Bader. Corinne couldn't find one piece of paper on it. I couldn't find, and you know I look through stuff. I couldn't find one piece of paper. There's nothing on the drive. There's nothing anywhere. The
We don't
only,
have plans?
excuse me, I didn't
We don't
hear
have
you.
any plans for it?
They are somewhere. Who knows? So when it's a long story and I don't want to get into the Ed Bader thing, but anyway, so when he left, it wasn't on great terms. And his whole email there was nothing in it. I even restored it back a month. Nothing in it. So nobody knows where there's permits. Nobody knows. The only thing I found was a contract. There's no information on the contract. Literally, there's no, you will do this work and there's just a signature that you can't even read.
Wasn't there, if I'm not mistaken, I was either on the website or on the drive, and there was an engineering firm that was hired to do the job. Why don't they would have all that information?
John Allegra did that.
Well, John did the job, but John didn't design it.
Right. No, I believe it was Carl that designed it. I'm not sure though. I believe it was Carl Asimovitz. And I think that, and I'm sorry if I messed up his name, but I don't know what failed. I don't know which part failed. But however it was designed, it's not doing what it was designed to do, which is our problem now. And
it doesn't hold enough water. There's not enough surface contact. I talked to a couple of people about this.
Right. So really, essentially, the discharge needs to be raised, or there needs to be a berm put around it. I really don't think it's going to cost a whole lot to fix that. And I don't think it's going to cost $6,000, which is what we're paying for stream testing. So it's something we will talk about in another meeting because it will take time. My plan in my brain is on top of it's on the list is to go down to town hall and see what I could pull for information on this. I mean, it had to go through inland wetlands. It had to go through processes. Nobody has anything. So I'm going to try to go to the town and see what I can find. It's on the agenda. I'm on the list, I mean. So that's primarily a lot of what's happening. Also, the rain gardens, we're going to educate folks on rain gardens, septic systems, fertilizing your lawns. It's huge. People need to stop fertilizing their lawns. It's huge, 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 huge. And we really need to drill that into people that this is your lake. And this toxic algae is because of all of these nutrient loading. Go ahead, Craig.
Pog went through this and is still going through this when they built Seven Hills Estates behind the lake.
Mhm.
And it's been a huge issue over there. My cousin lives on that lake and it's been a mess.
Yes.
That was point one. Point two is John Gilmore lives across the street from the biobasin and he has experience with these. And I had a long conversation with him over the summer. And he's offered to give me some insight, and I'm sure you've talked with him about it or somebody has, but.
Well, I've talked with Wolf and I've talked with Tim, and they've known about this for a while. But at the time it came about, they were still gathering data. And there's no disputing the data.
Right.
It is what it is. And I'll see if I can dig it up on my email and I'll forward it all to you. You can all see the data. But Wolf had extensive, maps and data points, and it was quite interesting. But it really is. It's the nutrient loading, kills the oxygen in the lake, and here comes algae. So really, that's the bottom line. Bubblers, I want to talk about those really quick. I understand there's a couple people that use bubblers here. The East Shore sent out in the East Shore Gazette, warnings about using them. And if you use them, you need to put out a big sign saying, I have a bubbler, so nobody falls through the ice and all that. I just think they're a huge liability, because if people think the ice is frozen over and they're out there ice skating and they're brought anywhere near where a bubbler would be, they could potentially go in, because the bubbler is meant to keep the lake from freezing where their docks are. So they asked me to send that email blast out, the East Shore Gazette, it was well written, but it's still saying, if you use them, do this. If you I don't know. How do we feel? I mean, it's our responsibility to maintain the safety of the people in the lake and the water. I don't know. We need to think about how we feel about people using bubblers. And I don't know how many people use them, but I know at least one person does.
But can we control the East Shore?
We can't.
It's a state lake, so we can't control anything that happens on the lake.
We can't control the East Shore. But we could put it in our rules and regs that you can't use bubblers. Absolutely. If you read our charter,
No, I was only asking. If we prohibit it, but the other side is doing it.
We can't. People
I'm
are ice
for it.
skating over here. Our folks are ice skating over here. If they want to go over there and they want to go to the East Shore, they're requiring them to put up big signs saying bubbler in use and whatever. Are they mandated to do it? No. But
I can mandate.
Yes, but I wanted to just put it out there for everybody to think about. We can talk about it again at the next board meeting, but it is a big thing. And I did tell them, I didn't want to put that email out. I didn't want to put it out there until we talked about how we felt, what we wanted to do with them. But I will forward that email to all of you to look at, and then we could discuss further. I just worry about somebody going under. And I've had people come to me and complain about people using bubblers, which I didn't even know what they were, but I do now. But so I'll forward you the email from what they sent out on the East Shore. Let me make myself a note.
So if we did do this rule about bubblers, safety is the focus, right?
Yes.
So if we did that, what would stop us from saying, no lawn fertilizer, no, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Cause the algae and the bacteria and all that in the lake is also safety oriented.
Yeah, but this is more direct, Nancy. This is
Yeah,
like-
I get it. I get it. It's just, I
Yeah.
was surprised when you said we could tell someone they couldn't use a bubbler on their own private property.
yeah,
It's not on their property, it's on the water. They don't own the water.
Yeah,
Right.
I know, but that's so many feet out, it becomes the states and all that business.
right, but
We don't own the water either.
we don't own the water, but we own the
Yeah.
responsibility for the safety of the folks here.
How do
And,
we? I don't think we own the responsibility of people out on the water.
not out on the water.
Well, it
But-
doesn't matter. If you're on the water, you're on a public lake.
All right, so I'm going to email everybody the Gazette. Give me your feedback and tell me what you think, okay?
And for the record, I'm not saying we shouldn't like do the right thing here. I'm just
Oh,
saying
I
that
know.
like if we don't own the water, we can't control what happens on the water.
Well, I'll send you the statement as well that we can talk about. But and I'm not trying to cut you off. I just want to move on because we're
No, I'm with you. This is all on the record. So I just
no,
wanna-
I know, and we have a couple other big ticket items to talk about, and so I will email out the East Shore Gazette's recommendation. I will email out the statement in our charter, and we can decide what we want to do. Okay? Sound good? All right. Properties. So we had a signage crew, we had a silt fence crew, we had
Boat
Am I-
removal crew,
a what?
boat removal crew.
Oh, yeah, boat removal crew. So all of you were part of that. So if anybody wants to talk to that again, you are all very appreciated for all of that, really.
My kids complained the entire time,
Well, they're kids. They're supposed to.
but they were my crew.
I know. Oh my gosh. All right. So, so Craig, to that point, I want to say, I've already, so we had the conversation about Saturday and it hit me after you wrote Saturday and I said to Julia, oh my God, it's Saturday. It's not Sunday. Wait, let me finish. It's not Sunday. And we said the 15th and blah, blah, blah. So next year going forward, it will say the weekend of the 15th, which whatever it is, it'll say the weekend of, have your boat off before that, because our volunteers get to pick the day.
All you have to do is say the day. If you say by the 15th, then that means at midnight on the 15th, you're late.
Right. No, I know.
By the 15th, not by end of day. So the only complaint I had was from the neighbor across who donated the dock. I forgot his name now.
Oh, Hibbert, Donnie Hibbert.
It's
Who?
still there.
That dock, not that dock.
No, Reserve Beach up by Evelyn.
Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came and was pretty upset with me as he pulled his boat from the back of my truck. And I introduced myself as the First Beach rep. And I very politely said, if he has an issue, my name is Craig Montanari and you could take it up with the board. I'm your First Beach rep. But he yelled at me that I have till the end of the day. And I said, well, I'm here right now. And I'm the whole thing. So all you have to do in the email is not say after this date, you have to say by the 15th, period, end of it. And then by midnight on the 14th, you're done.
So
See, I disagree because by makes me feel like the end of the day.
No.
Before is better
Okay,
language.
that's fine.
Yes.
Nancy, good point. So
That's what I
before
was-
the 15th. Yeah,
right. So
that's
lesson learned, and past years we always did it the day after. And then when I realized you said Saturday, I was like, oh crap. And then I knew Lisa was on board, and she's like, that's when I'm available. So
There was
whatever.
only a couple of people that were upset, and the ones who were local, they went down and got their boats. So like Second Beach was clear by the time, except for that sailboat. Third Beach was empty, and all I did was pull a bunch off of Reserve, and then there was a canoe on First Beach, and she was pulling it off as I was about to go pull it off. So
Right.
it was all set.
Right.
It's
So
just that one guy that was mad at me, and I kind of handled it.
and then the Facebook guy or two.
Which Facebook guy?
I don't know.
The one who said, "Oh, I'll run down now." Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
Second Beach, but it is what it is. I think.
Yeah. But going forward, lesson learned, whatever.
Don't wait till the last minute. We could put that in the thing too. Don't wait till the last minute.
That was my third reminder.
And by the way, the only person who yelled at me, I had to dig his boat out of the dirt, so it hadn't been used all summer. So
Okay.
Anyways.
Thank you. And your children.
and my wife,
Okay.
my kids were crying, so she was integral in the whole process. So
Awesome. Thank you. Brian, do you want to talk about signage quickly?
Sure. I think
And
we
Dave.
installed.
I know you both did.
Thanks, Jeff and Dave. Yeah, kind of pulled them in. Yeah, we have signage much more prominent there at First Beach when you walk in. The rules and the closure by 10. And Second Beach, we got all the no parking spaces. Third Beach, we put a closure sign. We decided, Dave thought wisely not to put it right up on the street because it's a little too close there by that gate. We put it so you saw it right from the beach. You'll see it by the boat racks.
What does it say? What is
It
that
says,
one?
what does it say, Dave?
What
That
time?
one's private property, beach closes at 10.
Okay.
Because right by the gate, the surface is no good to sink the poles into. It's all sand. It's too
Right.
soft. So we'd
That's-
actually have to dig it out and put a concrete base
And
in.
it was a large sign. It was horizontal.
Yeah,
Correct.
It's like
I got
2
it.
feet.
I know. I didn't want anybody to miss it.
No, they
Exactly.
won't. Even where it is, you can see it. It's pretty big.
Yeah, so thank you. That was, so we still have some to go, right? Like,
A few. The one that's in question is the one with the chain. You wanted the idea of putting it across the First Beach parking lot. We weren't sure the strategy there. Are we doing it at all in the winter? Probably not, because snowplow.
no, it's
yeah.
just meant for like the spring, and like as soon as the
Okay.
kids are out of school, I think we need to just do that. But did you happen to see the chain in the properties room by any chance?
I had seen it. I didn't look for it this weekend though.
Okay. So it's still, I haven't been down there, but I just want to make sure.
I
it's
had
still there.
eyes on it. Yeah. We were concerned about how to support it. It's a long
Yeah.
run. It might take a few things to support it.
So, so we'll look at that in the spring because that's
The
when
next signage, the kiosk, that'll be a different project. I figured before we reopen or something, April.
yeah, perfect. Thank you. And then silt fence, Julia.
Nothing. It's Johnny Allegra's always digs a trench and he's awesome. And Chris and Lisa were there to help and we just filled in. We do need to get some sandbags though. We need to do Glimmer Glen and Little Beach, like we did last year. So I had asked Lisa for the number of sandbags and I think you've taken some notes, Lori, from last year, and we'll just have to look at that and order some sandbags and hopefully put a little crew together to put those out.
Right. And first
If
beach,
anyone wants to shepherd that, they're
Can
welcome
we
to.
get those at the hardware store?
yeah, we get them at
We do.
Shag Park.
We got them at Shagbark and they were delivered.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause those puppies are heavy. Um,
They're 60 pounds.
Yeah. So First Beach wound up with quite a few, and actually they worked better than the hay bales. So First Beach on the end, Julia. Anyway, we could talk about that later.
They're still there, Lori.
Oh, are they?
We didn't remove them.
Oh, okay. That works.
Yeah,
But
we need
in front of the gate, we put them.
to, well, we need to get the list from you and find out how many we need.
Okay.
And that
Um,
needs to be done sooner than later in the next month.
Agreed. And then we also, and I don't know if anybody's, Julia, you and Gary just cleaned out the properties closet. The marker sticks. Did you see those?
The snowplow sticks,
Because those go in or on the side of the sandbags, so the snow plows don't take the sandbags.
yeah, they're in the properties next to the red tool chest.
Okay. All right. Dave, you want to talk about Second Beach?
for a second, sure. I took apart the boat racks at Second Beach yesterday and today. They're laying down by the beach so that the 3 trees can get removed. I think in the spring, we're going to have to rebuild the boat racks at Second Beach. There is some rot to some of the wood. Also, some of the connecting pieces that hold the boats up are cracked and weathered to the point where they should not be reused. They're 16 footers, so they'll have so they'll have to be delivered because I don't know anybody who's got something that can carry 16 footers. But I think in the spring, unless we feel it should be done sooner, and then we'll have to put together a work party and probably need about 20 pounds of screws because the majority of the screws that were holding those racks together were stripped, and I cut them with a Sawzall to get them apart. So that's where we're at on that.
Thank you. All right, so 2 work parties. We're gonna need a sand work party, and we're gonna need a second beach dock party, boat rack party, either now or probably in the spring, Dave, right? I mean, because they gotta still take those trees down.
Yes, they do. And it does, buying the wood and having it, weather through the winter for no reason doesn't really make any sense to me.
Okay, so that's a spring plan.
It might inconvenience people relative to the kayaks unless we get it done by March 15th, which I don't see happening.
No, we'll notify everybody.
Dave, do you have a sense for how much wood needs to be purchased and how much wood is salvageable, or is it just worth redoing the whole thing? And how much, so it's a pretty big expense.
Yeah, you're right. So I told Julia I did not inventory what was salvageable and what wasn't. I just wanted to get it out of the way so the guy could do the work. The other thing to keep in mind is everything we can't reuse, we have to dispose of, which, is another cost. So,
I got a burn barrel.
but it's all pressure treated.
Yeah, that's why you do it outside in the field. But okay.
No,
Okay.
you don't do that, knucklehead.
Did you measure, Dave? Do you know how big it was?
How long the whole thing was?
Yeah.
It was 48 feet, 3/16.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for your work, Dave.
Is there any, so I have one other quick thing. So the East Haddam Fire Department, I've been trying to get a hold of them, so that we could put some, stones, between the firehouse and, our property so that there's not continuing dumping going down. We also did find the another survey for the baseball field. And so this parking thing, which we'll talk about, we're going to table it, but I'm just bringing it up. This parking thing with the pavilion reservation and so forth, that needs to be mapped out because we're actually parking on Firehouse and all of that. So, so we'll talk about that. Not now, another time. Trying to move on, but wanted to give you information. Okay. Anything else on properties?
Well, you didn't talk about the walkway, right?
That's coming up under walkway. I'm trying to get to it, Dave. So public safety, you see, I put your name on that, Dave, right? Because that's you.
Yeah, I got it.
But really, this is,
So, I mean, it's the winter, right? So, I wouldn't expect a lot of, activity here, just like we normally do. The signage, went in before we had the frozen ground. What we do need to talk about in the future as far as planning is, number one, how do we, string those, that chain across the, main entrance there? Do we want a permanent fixture, something we put in, or something that we can move? And then the second thing is obviously, and we've had preliminary conversations on it, but are we going to employ a private security company for the blocks? And then, what does that look like? But, for right now, we're all set as far as identifying the private property. And if anybody has trespassers or individuals that are hanging around late at night, just as always, you can either reach out to me or if I'm not around, just reach out to the troop. I have made contact with a new resident trooper. So she's good to go, and easy to work with. Oh, and East Haddam Police have hired 2 extra officers too, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So question, also under public safety is the new hang tags that are coming up in 2026. They're going to expire. We had a lot of ideas with these, and this again is a whole discussion, right? How we want to handle that going forward. And I think Nancy, you had some ideas.
Well, I've talked to several people, and I'll have to say, I haven't met anyone else that allows guests to be present without a member. And I know changing that would be pretty difficult for this community. But in terms of what seemed to be more relevant and effective would be to have homeowners or property owners have stickers on their car and then have a guest pass, so that we wouldn't be in the situation where people are saying, well, I don't really use these. I'll give this one to this person and that one to that person. I mean, sitting on the beach this summer, I can't tell you how many people said, oh, I have a pass from somebody who lives on this street because they never use it. I live in New Britain, or I live in wherever, like there were lots of people. So that was where I was thinking we might be better off, is to use stickers for the main vehicle of the property owner. And then if we wanted to say, if we wanted to keep with 4, because we have 4 hang tags, if you have 2 primary property owners, they would get 2 guest pass. If you have 3, they would get 1, or, I mean, there's other ways you can make people pay for a guest pass. There's so many different ideas. It's just that we need to do something different than we're doing now.
Agreed. I do agree with that. And especially, this happened to me. I don't know why, but I threw away my tags or something. I don't know. They wound up in the car that I don't have anymore. And so I reached out to Carolyn and I said, what do I have to do? She says, just pay $20 and I'll give you another set. And after I did that, I said to her, I go, Carolyn, what if I was just some Joe Schmo and I called you and said, hey, I lost my tags, but now I got 8 of them for $20. You know what I mean? Nobody knows the numbers that are on these tags. So yes, that was another problem. So Carolyn started marking them. She's very, very critical on her giving out to, like, she's got that down to a science. But I definitely think we need to do something different. And yes, we did have issues with people not only giving them out to, like, people from New Britain or whatever you saw, but give them out to, a business that came here and used the facilities, which caused a big stir amongst the membership. I got a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails that people weren't happy about it in the community. So,
and that cost us attorney fees, right?
Anyway, there's certain things you should ask and certain things you shouldn't ask, Nancy.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. But anyway, so I think that we need to come up with something. We need to come up with something like pronto, because it's coming up. I do like the idea of the stickers. I know they used that at one time, and maybe every household just gets 2 stickers and 2 guest passes, period. I don't know. And then in the bylaws, maybe we write something in the bylaws that says, well, we definitely on the guest passes, we definitely have to put non-transferable, which means you can't give it to somebody and have them just use our facilities whenever they want. So that
The guest
needs to be on there.
And the guest pass has to somehow be connected number-wise to the sticker and the property owner, so we
Yes.
can know which address to go to if there's a problem quickly.
Right. Craig, you got your hand up.
Yeah, we had, I know of the one issue at First Beach. Have we had other issues at Second Beach and Third Beach where this has been a problem? Major issues?
I think,
Yeah, I think it was reported over the summer that there was arguments that were occurring twice at Second Beach during the evening hours. So either that was intoxicated individuals. Apparently, it could potentially have been a domestic type situation. So in fact, when I made contact with East Adam Police, that's what we talked about, is running some extra patrols because of those incidents.
And those incidents were people who were guests.
Don't know.
So then if that's the case, that has nothing to do with guest passes. So what
Right,
I'm
that has to do with hours of operation and
Sure.
being down there, when the beach is closed. Well, and to be fair, I mean, it was late, right? So
Sure.
the hours, I didn't necessarily agree, and Lori and I talked about this as far as cutting it back to 10, because to have it to midnight or 11 p.m., I thought was a little too late. So
But
Right.
but I think to Nancy's point, we're talking about guest passes and people misusing them or giving them to friends in New Britain and letting them use our facilities whenever. So my question is, other than the one that we know of at First Beach, have there been other people misusing guest passes, and have there been complaints about it? Because if not, then I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Craig, yeah, so I know of some at Second Beach. There's been 3 or 4 groups that show up at Second Beach. They aren't guest passes. I don't think they belong. I know they don't belong to the lake, and they
But if they're
won't
not-
leave. They've been belligerent, and it's to the point where you confront somebody like that, you might as well just call the cops.
Yeah, but what you're talking about, Chris, if I'm hearing you right, is that people who aren't misusing guest passes. Nancy's talking about people and guest passes and tying them to a house and putting stickers on cars and all
Right.
that stuff. So like the way I look at it is I have 4 parking passes. I have 4 guest passes. So why can't I invite my friends from New Britain to come up to my house for the weekend and use the facility, whether I'm there or not?
Yeah, okay. I hear what you're saying, Craig.
And so
saying
all of the
my
other
thing
issues,
isn't with the guest pass. My thing was just folks that
right? Yeah, and I'm
Alright.
100% on
Gotcha.
board with that. But like, is the guest pass thing really an issue, or is it an isolated event? Sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
Craig, I can say that there are people that are still using green tags. Okay.
or the ones before the orange ones, Craig.
Which are before
I
these ones that
figured
are
that out, but
expiring.
thank you for that.
Yeah, and sometimes the complaints about somebody driving a boat over a fence or somebody else's boat being in the wrong problem or making too much noise, they are not putting their tags in the proper place or don't have one or using the wrong color tag. I think the idea of having the the tag be a sticker to a property owner's vehicle makes it so the property owner is going to be using some of their tags instead of.
But my tags have a number on them that Carolyn Kress has a spreadsheet that tracks it to my property. So all of the issues that you're talking about with people not having tags or people on boats or putting parking, but whatever, that has nothing to do with misusing
All right.
existing sanctioned.
All right. So I think
So it's
that,
about accountability. It's about connecting to our community.
so Dave Burton, you and I talked about tags a little bit, and we talked about some verbiage that should or shouldn't be written on them. One of them is that they're non-transferable, which means you can't just, if you have them at your house and your guest comes and you want to allow them to use them, but you can't say, take this home and come whenever you want.
How are you going to police that?
Well, I agree with you. And a lot of this gets to what Dave G said about enforcement. However, if we don't put something in place, we can't enforce it. We can't.
Well, we have something in place. We have something in place where we have 4 hang tags.
All
And
right.
if you're using a properly sanctioned hang tag, then who cares who's using it? You have 4 of them. You're allowed to have guests. It's not like,
I-
I don't understand what the problem is.
All right. So Dave B, what were you going to say?
So we deal with this in the city, right? And we give out stickers, and those have numbers on them that are associated with the residents, and the number of stickers is related to the number of vehicles and or registered operators that you have in your residence. Then we give out special passes, which would be your hang tags, for the special event type stuff. I think that if it's not an issue until it is, right? I think if we start enforcing this with security, doing patrols or, moving from beach to beach, you're going to get a better idea of the number of times that this occurs. Because usually we only get called when there's an issue, when there's a problem. We don't necessarily get called if these are non-residents in the area, but have decided to come use the property because they've been doing it for years. And that's the other thing too. Talking to people is, they'll tell you that they've been here for the last 10 years or whatever it is, and they come down here. I think the objective is that we try and limit that as far as liability for the association, right? Because we own them as soon as they come on the property. Homeowners obviously put the money in there. We pay for the repairs. We pay for the equipment. We pay for the facilities. And these individuals, may come and use it. So, is there an issue right now? I don't know, because we don't have hard data that supports it. I know that when I moved into the area, I got the 4 tags as well. I don't know where they are right now. I have no idea.
Well, that's what happened to me.
I know, but I did see that I owe $20 if I lose them. If it's more control, yeah, I would go with the stickers for the control part. Again, we keep the spreadsheet, we keep the numbers, and then the homeowner is responsible for their guests. So they are responsible if they in the city. They're responsible to notify the police department if they have individuals that are parking on the street using the city's property, etc. Then they call us, and we just handle it as far as a special permit or a special event is concerned. If that's the way you want it to go, I mean, I'm familiar with that. It can be a little clunky. It's a little awkward. We have records clerks that keep track of it because we have a lot of instances where that does occur, especially over the summer because people have events, etc. So the easiest way for us, if you're going to do those special tags or those special event tags, would be the hanging permit. If I had to do it, I would do the hanging tags for that you can hand out to your guests, and then have the stickers for the resident vehicles.
Craig, you got
That makes all the sense. That makes sense to me, but it's really not all that different from what we currently have, in the sense that if the numbers on the tags are tied to our property and our residence, then it's kind of doing the same thing. And if, rental car, whatever the circumstance may be, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal, except for a few small instances that we've had where people have been misusing it. Anyways, that's just my opinion.
All right. So I think we have a lot of opinions on this. We've had a lot of ideas. I see your hand, Chris. So I think out of the essence of time, we have discussed this, and I think we need to move on. I'm going to let Chris say what he wants to say, but let's finish this up via email, and we need to come up with a definitive answer of what we want to do with parking tags and so forth. We really have some other things that we have to get to. This is important though. And I am tending to like the stickers for the cars too. And I know they did it in the past. I I don't have any history. I just know they did it in the past. And Julia might be able to help with that. But Chris, what did you want to say?
I was going to mention, whatever is easier. I think what Dave Burton said, if we're going to hire security on the weekends to patrol the beaches, it needs to be easy for them. So whatever is easiest, there's lanyards that we talked about for people that are on the beaches. So perhaps, talking about this in emails, but I agree with Craig. It's not that people lend out their guest pass to somebody in New Britain and they're misusing the guest pass. It's people know that we have a great spot here and they show up and they've been here for 10 years and it's a party spot for them. And that's what I'm seeing at Second Beach. And I think we have a lot of people and we have 194 apartments coming up that are being built as we speak. And I think it's going to become more and more of a problem. And that's why I think what Dave Burton said with the security, and making sure we keep folks that don't belong here, aren't guests, aren't people that belong here, keep them out of our beaches is what we need to concentrate on. Thanks, over.
Which has less to do with parking passes than it does to do with enforcing
Right.
misuse of our
Well,
property.
which gets
Right.
Dave Giroux's point of the enforcement. However, we need to put something in place so that we can enforce it.
We
Right.
have something in place. That's my point.
I know, but we have new, they're expiring. So we have learned some things from a different perspective, which I'm not going to really get into, on what needs to be written on those tags.
Yeah, I get the non-transferable thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a couple other things. So so Dave, why don't you and I talk a little bit more about it and offline, and then we will present something to the board and see what we come up with. We need to come up with a resolve on what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's incremental, right? So the signage is number one.
Yep.
Number two would be, okay, so what's the decision on the private security? And then number three is, okay, so now how do we identify, right? How do we identify as residents so that those security folks are catching or can ask individuals to leave that don't belong here?
Right.
So one thing I didn't use in my language that I think might be helpful is if we differentiate between a member and a guest. So that's clear for security right away.
Right.
And that's what the sticker versus guest pass would do.
Right.
I like
Great
that,
point.
Nancy. That's a good point.
Yep. I agree. So, all right. So, let's wrap this up via email.
Motion
And-
to move on.
Second.
Okay. Bylaws.
Motion to adjourn. No, I'm just kidding.
Second.
Bylaws. We did miss a meeting. So, I mean, we are, some of these things were transferred over.
Okay, Laura.
Bylaws, you remind me of Dave Edgington. We need to talk about whether we're having a bylaws committee. Bylaws are done between January and March. We do have a lot of bylaws, and even to Lynn's point, what she wants to put in there with the taxes, but we have a working bylaws document. But we do have a lot on our plate right now. Do we want to take on bylaws this year?
We just did, didn't we?
No. We did not do it last year. We did it the year before.
If we only have one thing to change, then I would
No,
say
no, there's several. But my take on this is that we really have been going after the rules and regs that are from 2014, which I think falls into this public safety thing too. So my preference would be to go over the rules and regs this year and go into the bylaws next year. That would be my preference.
I second that idea.
Yeah, I like it.
So does everybody, so motion to skip bylaws and take care of rules and regs this year?
I'll
All in
second that.
favor? Second, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, moving on. Playground, I'm just gonna give you a little information. We had a wonderful person, anonymous, don't know who it is. Actually, don't even know if it's a member, but it's fine. It was a donation to, for $4,500 to put in a swing set, to purchase a swing set and to install a swing set. And then they're incorporating the freight with the playground. So we are going to get a swing set. I thought that was just wonderful. So I thought,
I thought there was additional liability related to swings.
I'm sorry, I did check with the insurance company and they were fine with it. They said it'll be covered under the playground. I'm sorry, I should have told you that, but thank you.
And
Um,
where's the
where's it gonna go?
location of it?
It's gonna be right next to the playground.
It fits because
there's
Yeah.
not a lot of space there.
they
It's,
said that we were getting bigger, a little bigger than our current footprint.
we did all the preliminary work before I said yes. So insurance, Jim Ventris, measuring, everything. So all that's done. And it's paid for. So.
All these,
Okay.
all these thumbs up are going up.
It's gonna go right next to the sign that I just put up that says no swings allowed. No, I'm just kidding.
And
So
I
now
just
I have to run my cord through a swing set so that I can charge my
no, no. All right, so the brick fundraiser, I'm gonna tell you more about that. I'm gonna put it together with Cassie. We are gonna do a brick fundraiser. I'll get it in motion this month. We'll talk about it next month or January. We're gonna decide on it next month or not. So I'll tell you more about that, but we are gonna do the brick fundraiser to continue funding the playground. Anything on that? Great, okay. So walkway number 4. I just want to start out by saying this walkway started June 2024. It is now November 2025. It is not complete. It is taking an amazing amount of resources, an amazing amount of patience, and an amazing amount of working with our community members. We found ourselves in a position where we felt we needed to do a survey at the last board meeting before we put up a fence because we wanted to make sure of its proper placement. Well, when I first came on board, the budget committee had the property manager come to the budget committee, and he had $5,000 in his budget for surveys. And they were surveying all the, at the time, right-of-ways. And he said, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I take that out of my budget. We took it out of his budget. So something in the back of my mind knew that we had surveys of some of the right-of-ways. But anyway, so in June, we offered for the abutting homeowners many concessions. They could move the stuff themselves, just so many concessions. In July, on July 25th, the walkway chair and president met with 31 and 33 Ridgewood homeowners to go over their deeds, town maps, and an A2 survey, which detailed the location of the 10-foot walkway. The 31 Ridgewood homeowners disputed the location of the 10-foot walk and wanted time to analyze the data. So those are the neighbors or the abutters to the south. By the end of July, they agreed with the A2 survey and all parties agreed on the location of the walkway. The A2 survey, so you have 31 Ridgewood, the walkway, 33 Ridgewood, and beyond that, 37 Ridgewood. The A2 survey was from 37 Ridgewood. And when this was occurring, there was a pin found And it was that's what the abutters in 31 were disputing. They were not in agreement with it. Well, they were correct. And unfortunately, everybody agreed, and we were trying to be nice do and make this all go away. So when we went to have Dutch come and do a survey, I looked back and I remembered on the drive there was pictures of all of the walkways from when the initiative back in 2019 was to reclaim all of the time right-of-ways. Well, I pulled up the picture of that particular walkway, and guess what was on it? It was staked out. So guess what I knew? We had a survey somewhere. So I found it. The pins that are there now concur with the survey that we had. And unfortunately, this is the route that we went because of so much pushback and so much legalities and so forth that they got involved here. So while we were there, the homeowners from 33 Ridgewood, the woman was there, the homeowner was there. She witnessed the stakes and then pulled out a diagram that she presented to Dutch on how her property, I have a picture of her pulling out the tape. She knew that it really wasn't where they had agreed on, which was kind of sad, but it is what it is. So the stakes are now beyond that, where she had thought. But so really the 31 Ridgewood almost lost 5 feet of their property. So I'm glad that we got the right information now and the correct information. Where we stand now is 33 Ridgewood put their, I'm going to call it temporary fence because it appears to be, on either on the line, which is not acceptable, or right behind the stake. So the land use administrator says it should be 6 inches beyond. But not only is it right on the stake, but when the wind blows, it goes another foot into the walkway, which now the stone wall that we had put in, which was our negligence, we did not, this did not happen properly. It did not happen properly. It was a neighborly agreement that failed. So this stone wall now, there's maybe 1.5 feet to walk on. So that's out of the picture. The walkway is now to the north of the rock wall. And we need to designate that in perpetuity because this has been just too much. So our proposal is that we put the 3, as we agreed, the 3 section split rail fence along the right side so that we can guide people safely to come now on the 6 feet that we have that goes more on the 33 Ridgewood line instead of the 2 foot where the rock wall where it was supposed to be. And then the 31 Ridgewood gains their property back, their rightful property back. The other thing in question is 33 Ridgewood has now asked to dig up their sod that is not on their property. And my concern with that is this has been going on for 1.5 years now, trying to reclaim this walkway. If sod is dug up now, we're going to wind up with mud all winter. And 3, then we have to wait for grass to grow again. I think we need to leave what's there. We need to put in the split rail fence. We need to ask them to secure their temporary fence so that it's not blowing in people as they walk through. And so I think that's where we stand. However, this is a board decision. If there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I just want to give a time check. It's 5 of. This is a very important topic. However, let's try to keep it short. I don't think there's a lot to discuss here. I really don't. Craig, you have your hand up?
We screwed up.
Oh, no. It was,
No.
it was an agreement between all homeowners and us. We did not screw up. It was an
Well,
agreement.
the collective we screwed up. Why don't we just make it a rule that whenever there's a dispute, we call Dutch and we get a thing?
Well, that's fine. So
Okay,
now,
so moving forward, I make a motion that whenever there's a dispute, we Pula get a survey. Because if we had
There
this
wasn't
rule
a
in place at the
dispute,
beginning-
there wasn't a dispute in the beginning, Craig. We were working with the abutting property owners.
Right.
And actually this all worked out quite well because of the push we got from 33. Now we actually know the exact walkway. They pulled out the A2 survey and said, oh, here's the pin. This is the pin. And it was a pin on the A2 survey. It just happened to be the middle pin, not the north pin.
My point is, if they pushed back initially, and this is a good thing, okay, and it was neighbors working with neighbors, but if there was a question, which there kind of was at the beginning, then why didn't we just get a survey? It's our property as Pula. We should just always get the survey, period, end of discussion.
okay, Dave, you have your hand up.
Right. So I would suggest just a little bit different wording on what you're suggesting, Craig, that before we improve on our properties, we get a survey.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Agreed. So-
that's I agree with
so-
the language.
So I
Because
just
now
want
what we have is we have a walkway with a wall in the middle of it.
it's not, it's about a foot and a half.
I
to
know
the-
where it is. I saw it. I
Yeah.
live right down the street. So now we have to deal with the fact that people can go on the left of it or the right of it when they're walking.
No,
And now we have to accommodate that.
we've already addressed that. Julia and I have already addressed that, how we're going to have them put the fence in. It will direct them in the right place. However, yes, so agreed. There was a little bit of negligence here. We are trying to fix it. We are trying to be done with reclaiming this walkway for the Pola. It needs to be done for the abutters, and it needs to be done for us.
Do we know what the Beckett's want to do with their fence? Do we know if that's temporary or permanent?
So we just found out about that 2 days ago, and the idea was to have the board meeting first before
Okay,
there was
so we
any
don't know.
discussion. So again, my recommendation is to communicate to them that we're going to put the 3 section split rail. They need to secure their fence and they need to move it 6 inches off. And we're done.
And what about the fence on the 31 side?
There's no fence on the 31
I thought
side.
they were going to put a fence up.
We're going to put a split rail for the end.
No. I thought 31 was going to put a fence up. Are they
No.
doing that on their own?
John Allegra offered and they have never taken him up on it.
Okay. All right.
No,
What
no.
about the plants at the Ridgewood side?
You know what? There's no plants at Ridgewood side.
Yes, she's talking about the
The
grass.
grass. There's
Tall
three
grasses.
large grasses.
You know what? We will offer to dig those up and they can have
Okay.
those. But the sod, no way. That's going to put us back another 6.
Are they asking us to take the sod up?
Yes,
No, they
they
can't.
will dig up the sod. They want the sod back.
Well, first of all, they didn't order sod from Winding Brook Tree Sod Farm. Okay, I think sod generated through grass seed. Is that correct?
No, so now that,
No, they laid sod on their property.
They
Jeff,
laid sod.
sod on
which
our-
is now not their property. It's Pula, and
Yeah.
they want the sod back. So let's just buy them new sod and be
No.
done with it. What do we have to buy them? A strip of a 1 foot strip by 10 feet? What's that going to cost us?
Where are they going to put the sod?
I
If they
don't
dig it
care.
up.
Listen, no, this has been enough. Like, did you guys read this? Did you read this recap? Honestly, I'm really trying not to get emotional, but we've really been through a lot and bent over backwards so much that it's caused us so much
I
time.
understand it. I
We're-
understand it. I'm sorry Lori, I don't mean to.
If you're
It's just
going
time.
to put in a pool, are you going to make sure it's on your property? If you're going to put in a
Yeah,
fence, are
but
you?
sod is different than a pool.
All right,
No,
you're gonna,
sod is different than a pool, and it was understood at the time that that was their property, and they put sod in. So
they didn't
okay,
have a survey. They didn't have a survey. And when
neither
I,
did we. Neither did we.
listen, their sod was put in way before any of
Doesn't
this.
matter when it was put in, Lori. What I'm saying is, we put a rock wall on what
Our
we thought was the
property.
property line.
No, it's not on the property line.
No,
At the time, we thought that.
No, we didn't. It was not ever on the property
property
line.
line. It was
How much
always
sod are we
off the
talking
property
about
line.
here?
Craig,
I'm asking a question. How much sod are we talking about?
Well, why don't you go look and measure?
it's
I bet
about,
quite a bit.
it's about 6 feet by, I don't know, 50,
20?
100, 75
I don't know.
feet. No, no.
It's a lot.
Yeah, they can't dig it
Yeah,
up.
Craig, we certainly don't want to be the ones in charge of digging it up for them.
Mm-mm.
And,
Uh,
and, and we're not dealing with mud all winter and we're
All
not.
power to them if they want to do it, but it's a pain in the ass to
Okay.
us.
Oh,
We can get like a grass seed that grows like magic in the spring.
Yeah,
Dave,
but are we going to stop them from digging up their sod?
Probably
So now
not.
we get into legal issues, and how deep do we want to go with this?
Craig,
The legal question is it actually their sod when they put it on property that's not theirs?
It's a great question,
I
but
think
it's a
we know that
question
answer.
that I'm asking.
We just
Okay,
wanna
do you have
get
that
out of-
answer?
all right, everybody
I don't have
stop.
answers.
Dave has his hand up. Let Dave talk, please. He's had his hand up.
So can we just offer to leave their fence alone and they leave the sod alone?
Well, just to say, if they secure it, Dave, that's fine.
What do you mean
I
if they
mean, you know,
secure it? It's
not
like
not
a
asking them
matter-
to
can
move
we
it.
find out if it's
Because
a
I mean,
temporary
it is-
fence or
it is-
permanent?
Craig.
It is,
let
it
Dave
is
talk.
on their it is on their property, correct?
No,
No,
it's
some
not-
of it,
It is
some
or
of
it
it's
is.
on the line, Dave, and on the line isn't their property. It's on the line. The distinction per the planning and zoning officer. So
I mean,
on the
I don't
line
think-
is different.
I don't think we're looking to compromise here at all.
Yeah, and if we compromise in terms of the line with planning and zoning with one property owner, you have to do it with every property owner. So that's why we can't with that.
right, we've had people move fences. We've had, I mean, so much.
Right. We
Um,
can't.
Dave, you look like you look like you want to say something.
I think there's way too much discussion on this.
Okay.
The property line is the property line, the fence is going in, we put the grass seed down. I don't want to be sitting there and looking at, stuff that's all torn up. So if there is, future action to be taken down the road, then let that correspondence occur. And we'll deal with that, when we have to.
So we leave the sod. Is that what you're saying, Dave?
So, and again, I don't want to do this conversation in public because we're talking about some legal issues that
Yep.
potentially could arise out of that, right? So I don't want to have this meeting in this type of setting. I think
Okay.
for the time being, we leave it as it is.
All right, but I still have to tell them that they cannot touch it. until-
Correct.
Right.
Right. Yep.
Craig, you have your hand up.
Kind of like with the trash guy. Can we just ask them, is this a temporary fix? Is this fence a temporary fix? Or is this like the fence you're going to put up? Because they were going to put up a cedar rail fence. They were going to do they were going to install a real fence. So if we ask them that and they say, yes, it's the permanent fence that we're going to use for the time being, then we can say, okay, well, look, when the wind blows, it goes onto Pula property. Can we stake the bottom of it? Can we work on it? Can we just
That's
be
all.
reasonable? Right.
That's what I'm saying, secure it.
Right. And in Dave Giroux's point, don't rip up your sod. Like, let's work with them on it. And to Dave Burton's point, I get that we can't litigate these issues in a public forum, but like, we're not talking about rocket science here. We're talking about a fence and a little bit of sod, and mistakes that we could say were just part of nature, and like, we should have got a stupid survey at the beginning. And now we could put a rule in that says we're just always going to get a survey at the beginning and we're never going to have to deal with this again. So lessons learned. No? Dave Burton, you know you want to chime in.
No, I mean, we have the survey, right? And it was, I mean, this was one of the first issues that I dealt with when I was new. So it was my suggestion actually to go get the survey based on the activity that had occurred up to that point, just so that there was no confusion. But yes, I'm in favor from now on of either that we go out and identify the pins, we get somebody to go and identify the pins, or if there's no pins, we have to have that first before we do anything. Otherwise, we're going to end up in this type of situation again.
All
Can
right,
I
so,
make a motion, Lori? So you made a motion that we ask them to move their fence 6 inches off the line and make sure it's secured properly. And then that we were gonna put up our typical fence on the other side. And Craig made one other adjustment to that we were going to look at how much sod they put down inadvertently on our property, on the pool of property, and see if we want to pay for some of the sod that they put down. I make the motion that we go forward with those 3 actions. That we put up our
Just to
fence,
correct,
we
I don't know
ask
that
them
we
to
need-
move their fence back 6 inches and make sure it's properly secured. And then we look at how much sod that they put down inadvertently on the pool of property. And if it's reasonable, we come back to maybe next month's board meeting and we vote on whether or not we want to spend that much money to replace the sod they put down.
all right, so we can't vote on doing it if we're going to come back and vote on the price afterwards.
I just think, my.
Yeah, right.
point
We
was-
have to do 2 different things.
Right.
Agreed.
So maybe we vote on the fences first, and then we vote to look at the cost of sod and
Sure.
see if it's reasonable. I mean, we have already paid for damaged property of theirs that we didn't have to. We did that out of the goodness of our graces because a limb fell. We have been very good to these people. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be good to our people. But I believe the sod vote can't happen unless we do some research.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do the research and we'll come back and we'll discuss it again. But for now, we could vote on to ask them to move the fence 6 inches off the line like you suggested, and then our normal stockade fence on the other side and do the research.
Right.
Every-
So well, actually,
Anyone
what we're
a
doing is
second? Anybody want to second my motion?
I'll second it and then discussion real quick.
Any discussion?
Right. So we're actually tabling the sod issue
Yeah.
because we don't have enough information. So that is
That's
actually
correct.
what we're doing,
Yeah.
right? If we're
That's-
dealing with these 3 issues together.
Yes.
And
Correct.
as far as the fence is concerned, the communication does need to be that this is an East Haddam zoning thing, has nothing to do with us.
That's right.
The fence is non-compliant, so therefore it has to be in compliance.
Right.
So then we don't even have to vote on that.
Nope.
Right. So really, there's really nothing to vote on. We just,
Right.
we're going to continue with our process to move our, to install our 3-section split rail. We will ask them to comply with the zoning. And then we will look into the price of sod and how much sod there is there. And then we can vote on that. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah,
Well, I
that's a
guess it's
future
not a vote,
discussion.
but I guess it's an agreement. I'm in agreement.
There's really, I mean, there's really nothing to vote on.
Well,
Right? I think,
agreements and vote are similar, so I'm in agreement.
okay. Does everybody agree? Julia,
Yes.
Dave G? Okay. All right. That's partially settled. I'm gonna, are we all good now? I'm gonna move on. Please. Unfinished business, garden committee, I'm gonna get them together just to get to know each other at some point. That's also on the list. And,
I'm in a volunteer for the garden committee.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I could do heavy lifting.
So I will tell you, I will tell you, Chris, that there are approximately 10 people that volunteered, and most of them are knowledgeable, which is fabulous. Yeah. And then we are going to have Nancy Ballack come back and show all these people and anybody else that wants to learn. But so there are some initiatives, but that's great. Terrific. Okay, I'll put you in on that. Rules and regs, we already talked about. We need to correspond with the current signage, and many other criteria, boats on and off racks. Those dates don't coincide with what we do now. We want to put no fireworks in there. So there's a lot of things that we want to do. And yes, Dave, we go back to enforcement, but if we want to try to enforce these things and they're contradicting each other, we can't. It's hard to do that too. So I think we agreed to do rules and regs, and move forward with that. We were waiting on the rental committee forever, and that's been settled. So we'll get on that. And okay, one last thing. It's just quick. And this is Dave. Dam recap. We want to keep the dam people updated, or the membership updated on just what's happening with the dam. So Dave's got a quick timeline.
So right now, we have a couple of different timelines. We have not consolidated our timeline yet. We're working to do that. But right now, the tentative timeline in November and December, we are revetting the suppliers that we identified during the summer to make sure nothing's changed with the suppliers. And by January 15th, by the January board meeting, we should have a list of proposed suppliers along with a RFQ package ready for the board to look at. If the board approves it, on February 1st, we'll go out for RFQ. The RFQ will close March 15th. There'll be a bidders conference sometime in February. It will give us information to evaluate during the March board meeting, which will allow us to develop a path forward and implement it by June 1st.
Right. And in between, once we get the bidder numbers back, Tim and I will go and present to the Board of Finance as soon as we can to get the funds that are currently there released and to request more funding. So that should happen in March, end of March, or probably the beginning of April, because they only meet once a month. And I think that's it. Does anybody have any?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi. Thank you, everybody.
Guys.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You too.
All right, everybody enjoy the holidays.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.